Welcome to Stories from the Village of Nothing Much. Like easy listening, but for fiction. I'm Kathryn Nicolai. I write and read all the stories you'll hear on the Village of Nothing Much. Audio engineering and sound design is by Bob Wittersheim. In our show notes, you'll find links to our ad-free premium version, our other shows, and our merch and partner products. Hey, it's walking tour day. Are you as excited as I am? If you don't know what I'm talking about, it's cool. I rarely do either. But for the first episode of the month, I take you on a walking tour of our shared imaginary village. All my stories live in this universe, and so many of you have written in to say that you would very much like to live in it, that it inspired me to come up with a way to take you there, if only in a daydream. Now, you can listen to this while you're out on a walk, or while you're relaxing in your favorite cozy spot, while you're on your commute, or as you wind down before bed. Just imagine yourself in the calm, charming village of nothing much, on a walk with a friend. That's me. We're friends now. This is a sort of mindfulness by proxy practice, and all you have to do is listen. And before we start, let's take a deep breath in through the nose and sigh from the mouth. Do it one more time. Breathe in. Let it all go. Good. The Village Green Walking Tour. Hello again. Ready for more village history / insider details? Good. And I've always heard about those walking tours, like in New York City or New Orleans, where you learn all about important historic buildings and things that happened on this spot 200 years ago. And even though we're just a small village, as our name suggests, not much happens here, I still think there's a lot to see and appreciate. And our village green is a great place to stroll and take in the details. I was thinking about that term, in fact, village green or town green, and I bet you won't be surprised to hear I did a slightly nerdy deep dive on it. I used to live in Italy, and there we use the term piazza, and spending time in piazza is a big part of social life for a lot of people. And those are usually paved, cobblestoned, in fact. But in America, we tend to have more of a central park than a paved square. And that's because it was a common space for animals to graze, and they literally needed greens for that. But besides sheep chomping on the grasses, there's a lot in common between a green and a piazza or a square. They're usually centrally located in a town, just like here in the village. This is part of our downtown, and they're commonly held, not privately owned, for the good of all the villagers. A place to meet up, to hold community events and markets, and to see and be seen. I think a lot of towns have lost this kind of space over time. It tends to be choice real estate and get sold at some point. But I'm really glad we still have ours. It's important to have spaces where people don't need to buy anything, you know? Like they have a reason to be there that has nothing to do with consumption, except for maybe consuming some fresh air. So let's start over here at the northeast corner. You'll notice that our square is not exactly square. That would be too much pressure, right? I like that it's a little wonky. More of a parallelogram with one corner dented in. I thought we could make our way all the way around the green and then venture into the center when we're done. So this is the oldest part of downtown. I mean, I always struggle with how to say that because there were people and stories here long before this town was built. And I want to acknowledge that and say that While some things have been lost to history, like the original names of the rivers and the trees, I think the land still remembers. And maybe there are ways for us to work back into those memories and older ways of being here. I like thinking when I'm swimming in the lake or looking up through the leaves, walking on a trail, that I'm sharing an experience with someone who did the exact same thing here hundreds, even thousands of years before. That feels like learning from them, you know? Hey, let's do it right now. Stand here with me and let's look up at the sky. Feel the weight balanced on your feet, the touch of the air on your skin, the weight of your clothes. And just take some slow breaths. Oh my gosh, look at those geese flying in formation. Wow, that's what I'm talking about. The earlier keepers of this land would have had this same moment, watching that and taking it as a sign that summer is nearing its end. So cool. So, back to what I was saying earlier. This is the oldest modern section of town. The road here is actually paved with cobblestones rather than bricks or asphalt. And the cobblestones themselves came down the river on a boat a long, long time ago. They were actually ballast in an old sailing ship, repurposed for paving. It's kind of exciting and eerie to think that this stone right under my toe was probably dug out of the earth in Canada, then loaded into the cargo hold of some great boat that was sailed through these giant lakes and down rivers to places like our little village. The stones were unloaded by other hands, laid into the street by still others, and here we are, walking on them. And they're so smooth. I bet these stones came from the St. Lawrence River area, already worn down by the water. I get caught in thoughts like that sometimes. Like, have the water molecules that washed this stone smooth ever fallen in rain on my own garden? Have they bathed people on the other side of the world and been mixed with watercolors by master painters? It's like we and the whole world are made up of innumerable tiny library books that have been checked out by different life forms and locations through history. And sometimes I wish I could just see that checkout card in the front cover pocket. Anyway, along with the streets, some of the building foundations on this square were also made from recycled ballast, though much bigger pieces. Like over here. Look. The cornerstone of this shop, this giant piece of limestone, it's been repurposed from keeping an empty ship from tipping over in the water to holding up this section of wall and windows. The stone isn't as smooth as the cobbles. It's sort of pitted, granular, and sometimes you can even make out a fossilized bit of fern or shell. The stone is, what would you say, sort of creamy off-white? But if you notice down here, there's an almost completely faded bluish line. And that's actually from the ship. When it was loaded, it scraped some of the paint off the hull, and it's still there. I wonder what the name of that ship was, the one with the blue hull. Sapphire of the Sea, even though she was a lake vessel. So this building with the cornerstone is the tea shop, or one of the tea shops, I should say. The village actually has two that I know of. Hey, there are corners of our little burg that even I don't know. There's one over by the curios shop, and they sell homemade blends. They have lots of crystals in the window, and there's an orange cat with a crooked tail that sleeps beside the door. That's where I'd recommend going for a cup of matcha or flowering tea. Take your dream journal or your tarot cards to practice. This tea shop is where you go when you want afternoon tea, poured from a beautiful pot and accompanied by dainty finger sandwiches and tasty pastries. Different vibe, but also wonderful. Have you ever had a cream tea? Oh, it's just tea with scones and jam and cream. Yes, they have vegan options. Are you kidding me? In the village? Hey, let's go in. We can sit in the turret window and look out at the green while we sip and snack. And I'll tell you more about the building. Come on, my treat. I am so pleasantly stuffed full of scones right now. That blueberry and juniper jelly, that was so good. I hadn't had that one before. But my favorite is the rhubarb and rosehip jam. Plus it's such a pretty color spread over the cream and crumpets. What a treat. Let's walk a bit now. It's good for digestion. So this side of the village green, obviously we have the tea shop, and next door, the toy shop. Have you ever been in there? There's a lot of fun things. Let's look in the window. They specialize in toys that don't need batteries, you know? They're usually more inventive and interactive. Toys that really need to be played with to be enjoyed. Like that post office set, I kind of want that. There's a little desk to sort letters into cubbies, a big stamp and stamp pad, stickers and envelopes, little packages tied with string. Oh, there's a little shoulder bag to carry deliveries around in. Oh my gosh, I would have played the heck out of post office when I was a kid if I had this. Ooh, and these cloth story dice, they're so cool. Instead of numbers, each side of the die is embroidered with like a tree or a bird or a treasure chest. And when you roll the set of dice, you use the symbols that come up to make up a story. Kind of feels like I should use those, you know? And over in this window, they have this little proscenium with a few puppets on sticks. I happen to know, because I asked for a friend, that you can actually play with those puppets. They'll let you. And around 4 p.m, they act out a little show for whatever kids are in the store at the time. There's a ballerina puppet. I think that one is supposed to be a ringmaster, like in a circus. And there are some bears and a bee, bit of a mixed bag character-wise, but the shows are fun, and it's even more fun to watch the kids watch the puppets. Maybe we'll circle back for the show later. Turning now onto the north side of the square, this is the village theater. Have you been for a show lately? Let's see what's on the marquee. They usually do a comedy or a farce or something in the summer. It's too hot for heavy drama right now. An umbrella for every occasion. Can't say I know that one. But from the poster over there, it looks like it's about mistaken identities and, of course, bumbershoots. I bet the characters all have silly names, and there's at least one maid with a feather duster. We should definitely get tickets. The theater itself is really pretty inside. It's got sort of a Beaux-Arts style, with a painted ceiling and dark red carpet and lots of decorative plaster. If we back up a bit and look at the building as a whole, you can see that toward the back of the building, suddenly the roof line shoots up, stories higher than anywhere else. That's the fly space above the stage where the lights live and where sets and sometimes even people can be flown out. I've volunteered a few times to be on the production crew, and I've helped adjust the lights and set the gels. That all happens way up there on the grid and catwalks. It's not for everyone being that high up, but I loved it. Learning about the fly system, the counterweights, the rigging, it gave me a lot of respect for all that you don't see when you're caught up in a play. And it's not just the tech crew. I got to see costumes coming together, sound effects, props, even the ticket window. Gosh, I wish I was working on this show. Oh, what was it called? An umbrella for every occasion. The theater takes up most of this side of the square. There's just a little newsstand at the edge of the block here. I love a newsstand. Let's look at the magazines and papers for a minute. It looks like the news seller is out. There's a little note hanging in the window that says back in 5 minutes. But there's a little cash box here you can drop coins into if it's a newspaper emergency, I guess. That's cool. Do you read magazines? I don't subscribe to any, but I do like to stop by here and pick up a few now and then. This one has really pretty pictures of houses and decorated rooms. Oh, look at that wallpaper. Wow, that is a commitment. But it does look really cool. And I sometimes get this one. It's full of crafts you can do at home, usually just with a few supplies. And this one is Local Histories. It only comes out once a quarter, but I've learned a lot of things I have sometimes related on these tours from reading it. And, of course, we have our own local paper, the Village Gazette. I'd like one of these, actually. Do you have any change? Thanks. There's an autumn book guide written by the head librarian I want to check out. And look at this article. There's going to be some kind of exhibit at the inn. Local innkeeper, newly discovered artifacts, open to the public for the first time in decades. Wow. We need to look into this. I will read carefully and report back. Let's turn here. This is the west side of the square. Oh, hang on. I just noticed that parking meter is about to expire. Do you have another quarter? We could save them a fine. Thanks. I'll be right back. Phew, got it. No, you're right. Now that I think about it, I've never seen a meter reader or a ticket on a windshield in the Village of Nothing Much. Well, better safe than sorry. And it only cost us, well, you, a quarter. Oh, this is one of my favorite shops in the village. I can't believe I've never taken you here before. This is the Spice Shop. They have hundreds, maybe thousands of different spices and herbs. What? No, it's not a new shop. I've written about it before, but the story only appears in the Nothing Much Happens book, available in 30 languages. Should we stop by the bookshop and pick up a copy for you? Well, okay. Think about it. Let's go in. Wait, first, take a deep breath of the air outside, just to sort of clean your palate. Now, smell this. The first word that comes to mind for me is earthy. We are getting pure Mother Earth and what she gifts us with this aroma. Barks and seeds and leaves, dried and ground. The shop is full of jars on shelves that go nearly to the ceiling. Some of them are very small, the spice inside being so precious and expensive that it's sold by the gram. And some in big bins with scoops to mete out their contents. Of course, you can get the classics, the stuff you probably have in your kitchen right now, like cumin and coriander, thyme and marjoram, vanilla, cinnamon. But let's look at a few you might not know. This one, I wrote about it in the story in the book. It's called Grains of Paradise. It's a sort of peppery seed from West Africa, with a little bit of citrus in the taste. Oh, here's some sumac. Did you know you can forage for this locally from a staghorn sumac tree? Maybe we should do a foraging walk. Sumac is tangy, and it's this beautiful bright red color. It's so good in fattoush or with a healthy splash of olive oil on some homemade hummus. And still in the Middle Eastern section, this is maleb. It's made from cherry pits, and it tastes like cherries and vanilla and almonds. It'd be great in scones for a cream tea. Look at this bright yellow powder. It's called amchor, and it's made from dried mangoes. I bet it has an intense, sunny flavor. And these spruce tips are from local trees. You can boil them for tea, or you could store them in a jar covered with sugar and make a sort of forest-flavored sugar. They also have blends that they make up just for the village. There's actually a line that Chef from the Inn helped them create. Here is their coffee cake blend, which, come on, Chef, we all know this is missing at least one secret ingredient. It's still really good. I add a couple spoonfuls to pancake batter or sprinkle it on hot buttered toast. Honestly, toast is one of my favorite foods. So that's how I use a lot of these spices and mixes. Just toast up a big slice of sourdough in a pan, not a toaster, with a little bit of oil, and then sprinkle on this. They're everything but the bagel, or the za'atar, or some of that cinnamon sugar mix. Chef also has a couple of pickling mixes and a chai mix that's really good. The village circle of kindly witches also make up simmer pot mixes. I don't usually do simmer pots in the summer. My house is hot enough. I don't need to add more steam to the mix. But in the next couple of weeks, I'll stop here or at the Curios shop to pick up a few of these. I'm already looking forward to it being a little chilly in the evening. Simmering some dried orange slices, split vanilla pods and charred cloves. Curling up with a blanket, the windows open, the leaves starting to turn. Let me just jot this down for a story idea. Okay, we've made our way around the village green. Shall we walk into the center? So remember that originally this space would have just been grass for sheep and cows to munch on. Over time, as the town was built up and villagers needed more than ground cover, they added in benches, some paved paths, and a fountain in the center. The water comes from a spring, and before folks had running water in their houses, they would bring ewers and jugs to fill here. I think of it as sort of like a coffee shop of today, a place where people would gather to get an important staple. There are a few chess and checker tables here. Folks meet to play, and the boards are ready for them. One of the high school shop classes has been building the birdhouses you see in these trees. We have a lot of barn swallows and purple martins living in them. I kind of wish I could take shop class, Like, it sounds great. I'd love to learn how to safely use tools and build a birdhouse. Maybe we can find someone to teach an adult class. I could post a flyer at the hardware store. Let's get closer to the fountain. This is a special place in town. I wrote about it in a story called The Fountain in the Square. It's a place to remember, to let go, and to make wishes. And while I have obviously had to beg coins off you all day today, we luckily don't need any to make a wish here. Our village has a different tradition. We drop marbles in the fountain. Go ahead, look down into it. There are probably hundreds of them in there right now. They get removed and cleaned every few months, packaged up and resold at the gift shops. Proceeds keep the planters here full of flowers. And I happen to have brought along a couple for today. Here, take one. And don't think too hard, too long about what you wish. Your heart already knows. Just make a space for it to speak up. Then think of that wish as already having happened. We're not here, actually, to wish for it, just to be grateful for it being granted. Thanks, Fountain of Wishes, for bringing me, well, you fill in the blank. Thanks, as always, for coming along on a walking tour with me. Small things shine when seen with new eyes. Let's have a seat on a bench and talk over our options for next month.